Leg entanglements can be quite confusing if you don't have a system to work with. There are many systems out there, and each one has a variation in what they call the different positions. This is the system we use. It is the basic understanding on how to position yourself before you attack. Once you segment the lower half attacks or the leg entanglement attacks, it makes it easier to have clear pathways and systems to actually get into these positions. Starting off first, the first position we're going to look at is something we refer to as the double outside ashi. The double outside ashi is when the leg of the opponent runs on the same side as my body. It does not cross over. My outside foot is placed on the outside, blocking the hip. My inside foot comes over the top and stomps on the top of the hip. Now there are many sub-variations for the way I lock up my feet here. Some guys will cross, some guys will triangle. We're just looking at the basic concept of the position. Any leg attack position, we want to isolate the hip first, then the knee, and then get to the lower half attacks. If these two aren't in correctly, you will lose the whole position. Isolate the hip, control the knee, and then look for the attack as the final stage. So this is the double outside ashi position. From here I can attack heel hooks or I can attack ankle locks, but we'll get to that at a later stage. We can also now transition into what is called the inside ashi. The opponent's leg does not change position. Merely my top foot comes in and hooks on the far side hammy of the opponent. I don't come in tight, I actually go to the far leg. If my leg is on the same side, I can have my heel pulled and have myself submitted. So we take our instep, we lock it on the far leg of the opponent, and then my ankle and my knee make a connection. We make a circle to isolate and control the opponent's hip. If you notice, the knee is in line with my hips or above. Now I'm in a position to look for an attack. But we're going to go over the finishes at a later stage. This is the inside ashi position. Note, with the double outside ashi and the inside ashi, the opponent's foot and leg do not change position on my body, just my legs. Outside ashi, inside ashi. To enter into that position, so it's less confusing, we both sit with our feet on the floor. I then take the leg on the outside, I thread my leg from the inside out, I scoop my bum in, and I bring my other leg over the top. We're now in the double outside ashi position. To transition into the inside ashi, I merely take my inside foot, the one that's on the hip, and bring it under the far hammy and lock in play. Now from here, again, the opponent's leg will not change position. I'm going to transition into what is called the Ushiru Ashigarami position. So being in the double outside ashi position, often you'll get the opponent turning inwards. This allows me to take my outside leg and thread it over the top and under the far side hammy. This used to be illegal in a lot of jiu-jitsu competitions before. It is referred to as reaping the leg. The leg comes around and hooks in the far side. The bottom leg can also hook next to that leg. There are many sub-variations of this knot. You may even come over the top, cross the feet, you may even triangle. There's many ways to control that. The easiest way to understand is both feet under. Now that foot, if I can take control of that foot, it hinders the opponent's movement and they're not able to just roll out of the position. Once again, I've got the knee above the groin or on line with my hips. I've got my knees coming together. The opponent's leg is seated nice and high at my body where I can now attack the heel or the toes. This is referred to as the Ushiru Ashigarami position. Once more, I will start in the outside ashi. As the opponent turns, I'll reach for the far ankle. I'll take my outside leg, I will reap, and I will hook on both sides. 2 feet controlling the far leg with my hand. I seat the knee correctly, and then I can look to attack when I am comfortable. The 3 positions that are of the same family of leg entanglements are the double outside ashi, the inside ashi, and the Ushiru Ashigarami. Why we say they're part of the same family? Because the leg does not change position on my body. If I start in the double outside ashi position, I can flow through from the double outside to the inside and into the Ushiru Ashigarami without moving the opponent's leg across my body. And that is why we say that the inside ashi, outside ashi, and ushiro ashigarami are in the same category of leg entanglements. The second category is the cross-body leg entanglements, where the opponent's leg is now no longer on the same line, but across the line. To get into a natural flow or sequence, from the ushiro ashigarami, we then have what is called the honey hole transition. So if I go into the ushiro ashigarami, I can then transition to one of the most deadliest positions, known as the honey hole position. I will now take this leg, I will give it some space, I'll drop it to my back, and I'll pass the leg across my chest. I will then turn back onto my side. Now I'll note that the leg is across my hip in a cross-body leg entanglement position we call the honey hole. If I dissect the honey hole position, the opponent's leg is cross my body, my outside leg comes on the inside, grips, and it hooks on the far hamstring. I take control of the far leg like I would with the ushiro ashigarami, and I can either put a double lock with my feet, or we can triangle our legs in this position. The most typical attack from the honey hole position will be the reverse heel hook. But again guys, we're just looking at the positions today. In another video we'll do the finishes. Again, a cross-body attack. The other participant in the group of cross-body leg attacks is what we have called the 50-50. Very famous position in the leg entanglement world. The 50-50, like it sounds, is a matched position. I have the opponent's leg across my hip and my leg across the opponent. So if we are to sit up, we are basically mirrored. The opponent's leg crosses my hip and my leg crosses the opponent's hip. The person that is able to get their feet to the ground and expose the heel of the opponent upwards to the ceiling or off the ground is the one that's in a dominant position. So now I'm in the dominant position. My feet are safe and the opponent's heel is exposed. The 50-50 and the honey hole are in the same category of leg attacks, cross-body leg entanglements. So guys, that's the foundation of leg entanglement positions. First position you have is the outside ashi, then you have the inside ashi, and then you have the ushiro ashigarami. The category is outside body leg entanglements, where the opponent's leg runs straight across the hip. We then have the cross-body group of leg entanglements, the 50-50 and the honey hole, where the opponent's leg is then moved across our body when it's attacked. I'm going to show you guys a very smooth sequence that you can play with or practice to get yourself familiar with these positions. You start by having both your feet on the ground in front of one another. The person that is doing the drill starts with both of your feet on the inside of your partners. Control the ankles. We start with the double outside ashi. Bottom leg comes through, I hold the knee, I shoot in, and I lock up the hip. From here, I can then transition into my inside. The person having the double outside ashi done to them can take their far leg and just simulate kicking your hammy. From here, my top leg comes through like a windshield wipe, clears that leg, and hooks the far hammy. We're now in the inside ashi position. From this position, my opponent will roll away. As they do, I'll thread the needle, boom, and we're into the ushiro ashigarami position. From the ushiro ashigarami, I can then clear the foot, roll back towards the camera, and once I'm back on my side, I can take control of the far ankle, landing in the honey hole position. The honey hole position is part of the cross-body leg entanglement group with the 50-50 position. So to transition to the 50-50, I merely pull out my top leg and I transition both my feet to the outside of the hip. I pin my feet to the floor and I have the opponent's heel exposed to the ceiling. And that is the end of the drill. I'll do that from the other side so you can have a better look. Beginning. Scoot in, double outside. Opponent kicks my hammy, I clear, inside. They turn away, I thread the top leg in, ushiro ashigarami. The leg never moved once from across my body, only my legs moved. Now we switch the group, cross body leg entanglements. I take my body away, I cross the leg over, I come back in, boom. Now I have triangle, my feet control the far leg, honey hole. I then want to go to 50-50, pull out my inside leg, block the far hip, keep my heels down, keep the opponent's heel up, and I'm in a 50-50 dominant position. Alright guys, that's your basic introduction to leg entanglements, attacks and positions. We're going to expound upon these in the next video.